So jumping around a little bit, so far we have seen how to customize the UI layer as well as the persistence layer. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at the service layer and how we're able to extend and modify Liferay services. So why would we want to modify services in the first place? Well, there's a couple of different examples that we can go over. One of them, of course, is a service does something that maybe you don't want, or maybe you want to add a little bit of functionality to it. So we want to be able to do that with Liferay services. Maybe we want to create some additional functionality within some existing Liferay services. And finally, maybe we want to be able to have something occur as a transaction is being done without affecting the transaction itself. So as we're creating a user, for example, we may want to trigger something else to happen, but we still want that user to be created successfully. So a couple different use cases, and there are of course other ones that we could apply when we're going over modifying some existing services. So we're introducing a new concept known as service wrappers. Service wrappers are the way within Liferay that we can modify Liferay services. So service wrappers are created for us within Liferay. So Liferay itself gives us the service wrappers for the services that are pretty much fair game to override. In this situation, most of, if not all of Liferay services created using Service Builder is able to be overwritten using a service wrapper. So the service wrapper is exactly that. It is a wrapper that will wrap the service. The wrapper itself allows us to add some additional functionality to the service, all the while still having the ability to call and access the existing service. So this is a very safe way to be able to modify Liferay services. Let's say we make a service wrapper and what we're trying to do doesn't actually get done. So we can always undeploy the service wrapper, make changes, and then redeploy. It's very safe, right? If something goes wrong, we're for the most part still safe. All right, so an example of a service builder project. We saw this a little bit ago as we were creating our real-world application. With a service builder project, there are a number of different objects that are given to us thanks in part to Service Builder. We'll highlight a couple of big ones from this screenshot. The first one is going to be that foo local service wrapper. Right there is the service wrapper itself. The foo local service we know is the API of the service. Now we can look through some of Liferay's source code over in GitHub, and you will also see service wrappers there as well. In this example, we're looking at the blogs entry local service, or the services for the blogs application, and you'll also see there is too a service wrapper object, thus signifying to us we are able to extend or override some of Liferay's blog services. Let's take a look at the actual service wrapper here, right? And for the most part, it's pretty well commented, pretty well documented. So we're able to take a look to kind of see what's going on. You're going to see here the add blogs entry, right? As an example, right? You are able to override specific methods within the service using the service wrapper. Now let's take a look at an exercise here, and let's go ahead and see how we're able to use a service wrapper to override a Liferay service. So in this example, what we're going to do is every time we create a user using the user local service, we're going to be adding the company name to the title of the user. So as we create the user, we're basically tapping into the functionality or the method that's called when adding the user to do some extra things. So the steps over here, We're going to start off, as always, creating a Liferay module project, this time using the API template as sort of a generic template. From there, we'll create a service wrapper component, which will help guide us in the selection process of the service wrapper itself. From there, we will implement the changes on the add user method, and then we'll deploy and test and make sure that it works. So let's go ahead and check that out.